Steve here with Table Rock Tea Company. It is April 16th, so middle of April, and we are having our very first day of transplanting tea seedlings. So this is always a big day. We've got our volunteer crew here to help us out. Probably just gonna have maybe a few hundred today. They kind of come in waves. So as they're building, they're gonna start to explode. I'll show you a little bit of what it's looking like in the germination room. All right, so we've got most of our bins already popping out. I remove the polycarbonate cover. Those are over here, but I remove those once the plants start hitting the top. So you can see, again, it's not very dense right now. Some of them are just waking up. Others, of course, are more populous than other bins, but yeah, as we get into warmer weather, these will all start taking off. So what I do, it's pretty simple. I'll start down here. I've got my main tray that I'll be working on, and that will, I'll tease these out. I'll show you how I'm gonna do that in just a second. And then they'll go into little buckets. Those buckets I fill with a solution of water and mycorrhizae. I'll show you that, and I'll put a link to what I use in the description, and that'll be ready for the volunteers. So I'll start doing that soon. As far as what we use for the mycorrhizae, I've been using this Great White. Again, a link in the description. This has been really good. I was skeptical about this product at first, but essentially what it is, it's a powdered mycorrhizae, and what it does, you add it to the water, and essentially it inoculates the roots of the seedlings, helping them to absorb nutrients a little bit better. I did some experiments a few years back. Again, I was skeptical. We did A and B and sort of watched as things grew in the greenhouse. And essentially it helps them start, establishing faster, which of course anything you can do to improve the quality in the greenhouse will improve what goes out in the field. So yeah, I really like this stuff. Great White mycorrhizae. So everything starts with this mycorrhizae solution. I usually put about a half a teaspoon of that Great White into a 5-gallon bucket. And then we have these little, I think these are quarts or pints, I can't remember. But they're just bins that you would get from like a Ace Hardware or whatever. Fill it about this much, and that's got your solution. You can see it's brown, and that's sort of mycorrhizae. And then in our bins, we use this thing here, which is just a screwdriver with the edges filed off so that it's no sharp edges. There you go. So you can see I rounded it out. And what I'm going to do is I pick the seedlings that have already 2 leaves open. That's what I try to do. And what we do is kind of go right in here and sort of wiggle it as we go, and just go to the bottom of the bin and tease them out. And what you'll see is that they basically have these huge root structures, and we want to get them into that mycorrhizae solution within 60 seconds because these small root fibers get damaged from the air. So they go back in here, and we load those bins up, and then they go to our bench where the folks put them into the transplant pots. So that's it. Got our potting bin here with all of our pots ready, our trays, and these scoops. Love these scoops. I'll put a link to these in the description as well. These are awesome. This is Poly Pro Tools. I think I've done a video on these before, but yeah, man, these are great. They're rubber, so when we scoop on this table, it doesn't scrape up the linoleum on the bottom, so it's really nice. Just a really great scoop. And as far as the soil that we're using, nothing really major here. We're using the Jolly Gardener ProLine HFCB Hydra Fiber growing mix. It's just worked well for us drainage-wise. That's what we use.
All right, so you pull one of these out of here, but when you pull one out, make sure that if you accidentally pull like this out, like that, then you need to go ahead and stick him back in because they need to stay in the water. Okay, so then you'll have your pot and you have your seed. So you're going to want to make sure that seed's underneath the soil. But where the top of the pot is kind of where the top of your soil is going to be. And you want it in this color change here. So the color change is different on every plant, but just kind of look where that color change is. I hold the plant where that color change is, and I hold it even with the top. Then I take a scoop of soil, and I just put it on in there. And it's okay if you go over the top of the little plant, because then what we do is we do earthquake shake. That's it. You're done. Don't tap it down. Don't pack it down. The water will pack it down. I just want it even with the top of the pot. I don't want it down below, because then the soil, there won't be enough. I want it even with the top of the pot. Then just turn around and put it in one of these bins, and we'll put these bins on the table. So if you are putting this in a pot, okay, so I just flipped him out of the water. I got to get him back in. So if you do this and you, let's say you're holding it and you're not thinking about it, and then all of a sudden you do this and you go, oh, he's way over here. If you want to correct it, don't pull up, because you'll pop it off, because that seed is so big down below, you'll break it every time. So just go ahead and dump it back out and redo the whole thing. It only takes a half a second, so it's just better to go ahead and redo the whole thing than to break it off. The tea seedlings have these cotyledons. So right here, you see it's like a bean, and there's two parts to it. If you break one off, you have a 50% chance of survival. If you break two off, they're pretty much dead. After we transplant, they all go on to the shelves here. In this case, we did 774 seedlings today in about 2.5 hours, something like that. Thanks again to our many volunteers who come and help us do that, because yeah, there are just too many that we could ever do by ourselves. Of course, you'll notice that this is 50% shade cloth. These little guys are still very susceptible to sunburn, and they will be pretty much throughout the spring and summer, and it won't be until about November that we pull this shade cloth back. So they'll grow, and we'll give you more updates as we go for those of you wanting to know how to grow and make tea. Thanks again for watching. Stay tuned to see what else is brewing here at Table Rock Tea Company.